Hi, this is Dan Bullard, retired electronics engineer on the front deck of my houseboat again. That's the heater that I use all the time when I'm trying to stay warm. But hey, the sun's shining, it's not freezing. Of course, if the wind picks up at all, I'm done. I'm out of here. But I want to talk about that guy's video. I found the video, and I noted that on the previous video. He did this video where he showed this scope picture of this waveform he had clipped in this goofball rat's nest circuit, and he had glitches before and after the flat part of the wave, and he says that's harmonics, and that's the lack of harmonics. It's the lack of harmonics. He's got such a rat's nest circuit that you can't get any high frequencies through there. And like I said, if you want a clean wave, you got to have at least 2,000 harmonics, at least. So if you're doing a 1 gigahertz wave, you need 2 terahertz. And if you're doing a 1 megahertz waveform, you need 2 gigahertz. Don't listen to these other guys. Now, anybody uses a scope to look at harmonics, first of all, he's an idiot. And so my wife said, be nice about this guy. So I'm trying to be nice, but don't ever use a scope or a spectrum analyzer to look at harmonics. Just don't do it. It's a mistake. Now, what's going on? Remember, what's going on with the scope and the spectrum analyzer is it does windowing. If you use a network analyzer or an audio precision or an Applicos or something like that, LTX, Teradyne, Credence, you use one of those, you can see what's going on because you can do coherent sampling. And that's what a network analyzer does, at least a good one. What's going on there, if you remember this video that I did where I moved a distortion from one side of the wave to the other, and I started with the higher harmonics, and so I moved them back and forth between the peak simply by flipping the even harmonics 180 degrees. And that's all you have to do. Remember how a Bullard plot does it, right? Those bumpy things that you see under that start of that flat edge, those become they're not wiped out. They're not countered by the higher harmonics. I liken it to sandpaper, okay? If you cut a piece of wood, you run a piece of wood through a saw, it's going to be rough. You got to make it glass smooth. How do you do it? Do you start with the finest sandpaper? No. You start with coarse sandpaper and work your way down to coarse, medium, fine, very fine, ultra fine, and pretty soon it's completely flat. And that's the way harmonics work. Really, that's the way they work. Now, if you skip the fine sanding, or if worse, you start with fine sanding, and then you sand just the bumps in the wood, now you've got very smooth bumps in the wood. They're very smooth, and you could even make them glossy and stuff, but it's still going to be bumpy. And that's what happens when you don't have enough harmonics. You have to have enough harmonics, at least, in my mind, at least 2,000 harmonics if you want to be, you want a clean wave. Now, if you want a dirty wave, doesn't matter, who cares? Whatever. But don't call those harmonics. Yeah, they're lower harmonics, but what you're doing is you're actually getting rid of the upper harmonics. The signal was a perfect transmission line. You'd be able to see exactly what the distortion is. We've done all this before, okay? Class B amplifiers, Class A amplifiers. Read my book, Distortion. Read my book, Harmonics. Things happen in a wave. And if you limit the harmonics that go to that wave, you're going to see things that you're going to call harmonics. Those are not harmonics. Yes, you're seeing parts of the harmonics, but they're actually not canceled by the fine sandpaper. They're not canceled by the higher harmonics. You remove the higher harmonics, you're toast. It's ridiculous. You're going to have bumps in it. So, I don't mean to be mean to this guy. There's a lot of idiots like this. I'm sorry, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. But that's just the way it is, You can change and say, okay, Dan knows what he's fucking talking about, Or you can say, no, Dan's an idiot. Dan doesn't know nothing. He doesn't have a degree. He doesn't know anything. He just lives on a houseboat and makes a bunch of mean videos about people. Well, you know, that's fine, but, you know, Trump said some mean things too, and he was right, wasn't he? He was totally right. Anyway, so once again, from the river, this is Dan Bullard. See you later.